Life is busy, but you don't need me to tell you that. We're constantly bombarded with stimuli from advertisements, harrowing news from across seas or countries or just in our local cities. We're always wanting to go faster, to develop things quicker, to produce more. It's always about more. How successful are you? How much money are you making? How well are you preparing for your future? Make sure you're studying. Make sure you're getting those internships. Make sure you're investing. It's exhausting. Sometimes I just want it to stop. Sometimes I want everything to slow down. Alright, I'll stop beating around the bush. This is a video about Frieren Beyond Journey's End, an anime that everyone and their dog has already made a video about. But it's no wonder that it's so popular. Yes, the animation is breathtaking, the music is gorgeous, and the writing is clever and genuine. But it's also the exact kind of show we need. Spoiler warning for both Season 1 and 2. If you haven't already, go give it a watch, then come on back. If you're planning on sticking around, then grab a snack, get cozy, and let's start on how Frieren Beyond Journey's End is. Frieren is a shonen. For those unfamiliar, a shonen anime or manga is characterized as having high-energy action, adventure, themes of friendship, and personal growth. While Frieren definitely has those aspects, it's also quite different from your typical shonen. Some fights only last a minute or two or are completely skipped. Some episodes are focused on menial tasks. In that regard, it's more a slice of life than anything. It forces you to slow down. There are a ton of moments in this anime that are just characters sitting around and talking, enjoying each other's company. In the first episode of Season 2, the first 6 minutes are the main trio just chillin'. For a 20-minute episode, that's practically a third of the episode. This isn't a one-time thing. There are a plethora of montages that stretch on for minutes at a time. But it's not just the story that slows down. This slower pace is reflected in the art direction. Take this scene from episode 3 of Season 2.
わかりました。では明日。
Fern getting up, walking to the door, opening the door, then walking out takes 20 seconds. It's almost painfully slow. When I first started watching Frieren, I found myself getting frustrated. I felt antsy, like scenes were dragging on too long. But the longer I watched, the more I came to enjoy those slower moments. In a world that's constantly bombarding me with stimuli, Frieren lets me sit back and relax. It lets me take in the story slowly, lets me really think about it. It doesn't require high action sequences or over-the-top comedy, well, most of the time, to keep me entertained. Something else I've come to greatly appreciate in this anime is how attention is granted to the little things. In episode 4 of Season 2, Fern and Stark are wandering the market. We get this shot of Fern's bracelet jostling on her wrist as she walks. They did not have to animate that. They could have just had the bracelet sitting there and it would have been totally fine. Here's another sequence. Fern and Stark stop at this jewelry stall. Fern picks up the necklace, then puts it down. The way this is animated, the chain folding over Fern's hand, the shimmer of the jewel, it's all tiny details that are given time and attention. One word I would use to describe Frieren is refreshing. The story, the characters, but most of all, the pace, the art direction. Frieren is slow, and tiny details are created to breathe life into the scene. I think it's fair to say that makes it different from other anime. The second episode of Season 2 introduced the Hero of the South, a warrior who possessed the ability of future vision. He already knew exactly what he was going to do with his life and what was going to happen to him. He would face the 7 sages of destruction. He would kill 3. He would die. He knew this, yet he went anyway to clear a path to the Demon King for Himmel and his party. It begs the question, if you already knew the end of your life, your accomplishments, your failures, How would you find joy until then? If you knew everything that was to come, how could you live life with any measure of happiness? Episode 5 of Season 2 is about a dwarf named Fass, who has spent the last 200 years looking for the legendary liquor Boshaft, said to be the greatest liquor to have ever existed. It's locked behind a magical barrier, so Fass asks Frieren to break it. It takes her 3 months. During this, we learn that Frieren already knows the truth about Boshaft. That truth being it tastes absolutely terrible. The lie about it being the greatest was created by the elf Milliard. When asked why she made the inscription about Boshaft, she said there was no point. No point at all. What would you do if the thing you've been searching for your entire life ends up being worthless garbage? How would you grapple with all of that wasted time? How would you find joy? The elf, Milliard, tells us that many elves spend their long lives searching for something. All so that they don't become like her. Listless, purposeless, always gazing off at nothing. But what if that thing you're searching for, a noble feat, a special item, what if it amounts to nothing? What was the point? The story of Fass and the hero of the South are, ultimately, about the same thing. The hero of the South already knew his future, yet he pressed on anyway. Fass's lifelong dream ended in disappointment, yet he laughed and enjoyed it anyway. They bring 2 answers to this question of what was the point. For the hero, it's to clear a path. He knows his part, and he plays it willingly, trusting in future generations to finish what he started. For Fass, it's the same as Hyder's answer. If a dream ends in disappointment, he would laugh it off. If the liquor tastes bad, then it's best enjoyed with friends. This is all about the in-between, that long stretch of time from the beginning to the end goal. Sometimes during this in-between, we feel like Milliard, without a purpose. We feel like we're wasting time, like we should always be pursuing some greater good, should always be productive. And when life slows down, we feel listless. What's the cure for such a feeling? How can we feel fulfilled? The hero of the South tells us to trust in the future, to have hope. Fass tells us to surround ourselves with friends. Surely, with hope and laughter, we can enjoy the in-between. Surely, even if our dreams end in failure, even if we already know what's to come, we can look back on the in-between with a smile. In episode 4 of Season 2, Frieren and Himmel fail to find a lost cat after looking the entire day. And yet, Himmel is smiling. Frieren asks why. His answer is simple. He's in a good mood because today was a good day. Frieren presses further, saying even though they never found the cat? To this, Himmel says, even if things don't go as you hoped, you can still enjoy the process. Stop and smell the roses is an idiom advising people to slow down, relax, and enjoy the quiet moments of the day. Those quiet moments are a part of the process. Even if you don't find the lost cat, walking around the market, being with a companion, and enjoying the cool air can put anyone in a good mood. Frieren is a mage who collects spells. It's a hobby of hers. She makes a point to collect what others would deem useless spells. Ones to change a red apple to green, or to always flip pancakes perfectly. Her favorite spell, out of the probably hundreds she's learned, is one that creates a field of flowers. In the narrative, this is because it's the first spell she learned from her master, and it's the spell that inspires Himmel to become a hero. Outside of the narrative, this spell embodies what Frieren is all about. Another elf, Sari, has a radically different view of magic than Frieren. She sees magic as a tool for war. Any spell that doesn't aid in this is considered useless. Any spell that isn't actively productive in this overall goal is seen as a waste of time. Sari embodies our world today. She prioritizes efficiency above all else. She's also a massive hypocrite, but that's a video for another day. In our world, especially with the rise of AI and just technology in general, we're constantly striving for speed and efficiency. We get so caught up in the results that we often forget the process. Sari takes pride in her power. Potential and strength is all that matters to her. Frieren takes pride in her collection. Pursuit of knowledge and finding these spells is what matters to her. She loves the flower spell because it reminds her of her master. She loves the flower spell because it brings happiness to others. She loves the flower spell because of its simple joy. Frieren Beyond Journey's End is the anime we needed. In a world that's constantly sprinting for the finish line, constantly developing and producing, Frieren reminds us to slow down, to notice the little things, to have hope and laugh disappointment away, to enjoy the process and smell the roses. However you want to say it, this message is the one we need, and Frieren presents it beautifully. In all those montages, the traveling, the fishing, the cleaning of statues, in the slow pace, the tiny things that are given time and attention, even something as small as a bracelet jostling on someone's wrist. In the story of the hero of the South, a man who knew the ending yet pursued it anyway with hope. In the tale of Fass, a dwarf who worked for 200 years for a liquor that ended up tasting terrible, yet ended up laughing it off and enjoying a night he would never forget. In spending a day looking for a cat and enjoying one's company, in a spell that creates a field of flowers. Like it or not, Frieren is something special. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing or leaving a like. It really helps me out. And a big shout out to my newest patron, Foolish K. Thanks for the support. As always, check the description for my Patreon if you want access to my scripts, or if you want to join a small community, my Discord is linked there too. With that, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye!